This is France today, a beautiful city, steeped in history and seemingly peaceful. But this place once harbored absolute power, injustice, and popular anger. How did it all begin? Let's return to the France of... This was France before the Revolution. The king held absolute power. The nobility and the church lived comfortably. Meanwhile, the people endured heavy taxes and poverty. This inequality slowly fueled widespread... At Versailles, the king and nobles lived in luxury. The people's taxes poured into parties and banquets. King Louis XVI ruled with absolute power. The gap between the court and the people widened. France was heading towards a... In the late 1780s, France was in the grip of a crisis. Crop failures caused bread prices to soar. People were starving, and the country was on the verge of bankruptcy. When stomachs were empty, anger could not be contained. Revolution was approaching. Behind the crisis, new ideas were born. Freedom, equality, and the rights of the people began to be debated. Enlightenment ideas spread through books and pamphlets. The people were no longer silent. France was prepared to fight against absolute power. On July 14, 1789, the people of Paris stormed the Bastille. This fortress symbolized the power and oppression of the king. Its fall marked the collapse of monarchical authority. The French Revolution officially began. European history was changed. After the fall of the Bastille, the king's power weakened drastically. The National Assembly took over political control. The privileges of the nobility began to be abolished. The absolute monarchy slowly collapsed. France entered a new era. After the monarchy weakened, the revolution split from within. Moderates and radicals vied with each other. The streets of Paris were filled with tension and fear. The revolution became increasingly violent. Violence began to be deemed necessary. King Louis XVI and his family were forced to leave Versailles. The king's power was now completely curtailed. The people controlled the city of Paris. The absolute monarchy officially lost control. The revolution entered a new phase. The privileges of the nobility were completely abolished. Peasants and commoners were now free from old taxes and obligations. This decree marked the beginning of formal equality. The revolution spread to all levels of society. New hopes arose in France. The monarchy was officially abolished and the French Republic was declared. The people now had a formal political voice. However, internal tensions began to emerge. Various factions vied to influence the direction of the revolution. The future of France remained uncertain. King Louis XVI was executed in January 1793. The absolute monarchy officially ended. The French Republic was now fully in power. However, internal tensions and conflicts continued to escalate. The revolution entered a more radical and bloody phase. Robespierre led the terror, eliminating political opponents. The guillotine became a symbol of fear. Paris was filled with tension and suspicion. The revolution was becoming increasingly radical and bloody. Many citizens and officials lived under constant... France faces a military threat from a European coalition. The Revolutionary Army must defend itself against foreign powers. Wars and tensions escalate across the region. The people's patriotism and courage are tested. The revolution is now fighting on two fronts, internal and external. Amidst the chaos of the revolution, Napoleon Bonaparte emerged. He rose to prominence as a talented young general. His military victories quickly elevated his reputation. The people saw hope in this new figure. France was poised to enter an era of military rule. In 1799, Napoleon led the coup of 18 Brumaire. The Directory collapsed. Political power passed into the hands of the military. The Republic lost its balance. France entered a new era under Napoleon. Napoleon became first consul of France. He centralized power in his hands. The government was run with strict discipline. The chaos of the revolution began to subside. France moved toward a new. In 1804, Napoleon transformed the Republic into an empire. He did not wait for the Church's blessing. He placed the crown on his own head. The revolution ended in one hand. France entered the empire. Napoleon led France into the European wars. Victory after victory expanded the empire, but war took a heavy toll. Power grew with bloodshed. Europe entered a period of prolonged. In 1812, Napoleon invaded Russia, but nature proved to be his greatest enemy. Villages burned, troops starved, and winter struck. The once mighty army began to crumble. This was the beginning of Napoleon's downfall. Defeat after defeat forced Napoleon to surrender. French power collapsed before the European coalition. The emperor was exiled, far from the center of power. The Napoleonic era ended. The map of Europe. After Napoleon fell, the monarchy was restored. The Bourbon dynasty returned to power, but France had changed. The people were no longer completely subservient. The seeds of revolution remained. The restoration of the monarchy was short-lived. Repressive policies fueled popular anger. In 1830, Paris was once again in turmoil. The king was forced to abdicate. The revolution triumphed. In 1848, the people rose again. Barricades went up all over Paris. The monarchy collapsed for the second time. The Second Republic was born. France entered. The Second Republic didn't last long. Louis Napoleon capitalized on the instability. The coup took place without much resistance. Power was centralized again, and the Second Empire was born. Under Napoleon III, France changed rapidly. Cities modernized, industry flourished, but military power was also expanded. Tensions between nations increased. A major war was in 1870, France went to war against Prussia. Defeat came swiftly and decisively. Napoleon III was captured. The Second Empire collapsed. France was left without a ruler once. After the defeat by Prussia, Paris was divided. The people formed the Commune, rejecting the central government. Civil war erupted in the city streets. Thousands died within days. The Paris Commune was brutally crushed. After a bloody conflict, France rebuilt itself. The Third Republic lasted longer than any other. Democracy was gradually strengthened. Education and industry flourished. France entered the modern. France was shaped by revolution, war, and change. Powers came and went, from monarchy to republic. History leaves scars and lessons. This is France today.